So, Saul Goodman?
Yeah, that's me.
I was wondering, any chance you're available for lunch sometime?
Lunch? Lunch? Really? Yeah, have Julie call my people. I'm in the book. See ya, Howard.
On the next episode of Better Call Saul.
Tell me about Saul Goodman. What's he about?
Hey guys, Q here. In this video, I'll be breaking down discussing Jimmy and Howard during Season 5 of Better Call Saul as we give our predictions and theory for their involvement with each other for the rest of the season. Warning, spoilers for Season 5, and let's jump right into this. So we've been speculating on Howard meeting up with Jimmy ever since the lead up to Season 5. First off, the Better Call Saul Twitter page posted a promo image of Jimmy and Howard together speaking with some other man, and the description of the post reads, "The return of Hamlin and McGill." Now, does this mean that they're gonna work together? So I assume that just means that Howard is bouncing back, he's more successful now, because Jimmy doesn't want to work under the McGill name, and he definitely wouldn't want to replace Chuck's spot. And then in a Season 5 trailer, we can see Jimmy and Howard shaking hands outside the entrance to that same building from the promo image, which is actually a restaurant that Howard usually takes his clients to. It's the same restaurant that Kim takes Mesa Verde to when Howard walks up and he's kind of passive-aggressive to them, so then Kim writes him a check paying him back and HHM in general for the schooling that they put her through. Then afterwards they talked outside at that same entrance and he ended up ripping up the check in front of her. So we haven't seen much of Howard lately, especially after Kim told him to stay away in Season 4. Howard runs into Jimmy in the courthouse in Episode 2, and he already seems to have an idea of how Jimmy's been changing his name to Saul.
So, Saul Goodman?
Yeah, that's me.
How's business?
It's good. It's very good. You?
Actually, it looks like it's gonna be one of our best years ever.
He says Saul Goodman to him and asks how business has been. He says that it might be HHM's best year yet himself, which hopefully is the truth, and then he asks Jimmy to lunch. Is Howard just impressed that Jimmy's back in business, or does he have something else in mind for him? Well, although Jimmy brushes off Howard's invitation to lunch, in Episode 4 we do see them at lunch together at the same restaurant we previously talked about. I've been meaning to discuss Howard and Jimmy going into Season 5 for a quick minute now, but seeing them teased at lunch together in the 504 promo trailer sealed the deal, so let's talk about it. Does Howard have a business opportunity for him? Could he be offering Saul a position at HHM? He may be doing it out of the kindness of his heart, but just like how Kim got mad at him after Chuck's death in Season 4, well, not mad at him for Chuck's death, but the way that he reacted and kind of talked to Jimmy about it. Even though Howard means well, he's being unintentionally insensitive to Jimmy just due to how he is in general.
I just had to know, what were you thinking?
About?
What were you thinking when you came to Jimmy on the day of his brother's funeral and laid that shit on him? That Chuck killed himself? What's wrong with you?
Howard might offer Jimmy a job at HHM, trying to clear the air between them and give him the opportunity that he never had, but Jimmy knows that Chuck would have never allowed it and that he'd be rolling in his grave at the thought of it. The deal for Howard in Season 4 was that after all of this time, although he's technically doing the polite and proper things that sound nice on paper, he still doesn't know Jimmy well enough to personally and truly understand the intricacies of his specific situation and why certain things involving Chuck are so sensitive to him and why they make him feel so uncomfortable, and he just doesn't really know how to process it.
I thought I owed it to Jimmy to tell him.
Owed it to him? Did you owe it to Rebecca? You tell her your theory? That Chuck intentionally set himself on fire? I guess not. I guess you just saved that one for Jimmy.
Kim.
Howard would speak to Jimmy about Chuck and such as if Jimmy was just a normal grieving person, but we all know that that wasn't the case after watching Jimmy's reaction to Chuck's demise throughout Season 4. So, has Howard learned his lesson? Has he rethought things between Chuck and Jimmy enough to actually understand how Jimmy functions? I've been Team Howard since we found out Chuck was the true asshole in the early days of Season 2 and of Season 1. Don't get me wrong, I love Howard, I want to see more of Howard, I know he's just trying to be nice and he means well, but after rewatching why Kim gets mad at Howard in Season 4, it truly does make sense just how oblivious Howard is to the situation, even though he's technically being, politically correct and doing everything morally right about the situation.
I didn't do it to hurt Jimmy.
No, you did it to make yourself feel better.
That's not what I was trying to do.
To make yourself feel better by unloading your guilt. Who cares what it does to Jimmy, right? As long as Howard Hamlin is okay.
Kim, I don't think that's fair.
Fair? Let's talk about fair. Hey, let's let Jimmy dig around the fire-damaged wreck where his brother died screaming. And then let's let him pick up a keepsake or two. That is so fair.
Speaking of which, could Howard be wanting to talk to Jimmy about anything Chuck related? I feel like Jimmy wouldn't want to go meet him at lunch if he knew it was about Chuck, but could Howard twist it on him? Considering what I just said, if Howard's learned anything, he should know to not bring it up anymore, but we'll just have to wait and see. I bet if it does involve Chuck, Jimmy will obviously not want anything to do with it, but if it's a business opportunity, Jimmy just might want to take him up on that offer. With Jimmy and Howard shaking hands outside of where I assume they met each other for lunch, what could they be agreeing on?
Did I hear you right? You want him to serve on the board of a scholarship committee? A scholarship that Chuck never in a million years would have given to Jimmy. Never! It is just, oh, what's this too, huh, Howard? What's in this? One last screw you, little brother, from beyond the grave? Am I really supposed to do this to him?
All right, Kim.
Although them working together sounds interesting, along with the idea of Saul maybe corrupting Howard to scam clients and create cons just like Kim, it's possible that Howard just wants to speak to Jimmy about the Sandpiper settlement money from the earlier seasons. We knew that this would come back eventually, we just didn't know exactly when, and they've almost waited the perfect amount of time as to where they were talking about it kinda recently last season, but not too recent. Some of us may remember, while others may have just completely forgotten about it by now. Either way, it's not on most people's minds currently, as it's been stagnant since the last time Jimmy was told that he couldn't get the money early, but it's going to return with a bang and really give Saul Goodman a boost. Although Saul could just be getting rich quick off of cutting corners, running through clients quicker, along with getting some big bonus cartel money, I feel like he'll be using the Sandpiper settlement money to buy his office in the strip mall from Breaking Bad, along with a few other things as well, such as finance his Better Call Saul commercials, buy his car from Breaking Bad that we see in the Better Call Saul intros with the LWYRUP license plate. I was going to try and sound that out as a word for some reason, along with hiring back Francesca and possibly finding a bigger place to live, as he sort of foreshadowed with that huge mansion that he showed Kim. This Sandpiper money is Saul's break to purchase everything that we know he has from Breaking Bad and get him truly set up as the timeline for the two shows collide. What do you think Howard and Jimmy will talk about at lunch, and will we see much of Howard in Season 5? Will this lead to an entire arc throughout the season involving Howard and Jimmy working together, or will Howard just give him the Sandpiper money and be on his way? As much as I love seeing Howard and miss seeing him shine in the show, his arc in Spotlight is mostly over. The show focused a lot more on him back with HHM when Chuck was around, but with Chuck gone, there's not much point to it anymore. And also with different story arcs including Mike, Gus, Nacho, Lalo, and the rest of the Salamancas all starting to blur together, the show's been focusing a lot more on that recently, and the Breaking Bad characters. And with Kim literally telling Howard to stay away, they're not just gonna have him pop up out of nowhere for no reason. I mean, unless he just sees Jimmy coincidentally in the courthouse hallways or bathroom like last season or this season, but I feel like if he wants to talk to Jimmy about the Sandpiper settlement money, that he was trying to find Jimmy purposely this season. We got an update of him last season when he ran into Jimmy at the courthouse bathroom, and Jimmy was just completely oblivious as to why Howard was so obviously depressed and upset over Chuck, which honestly reflected on Jimmy's character as much as it did Howard's. The show only uses characters when they need to, which is why we only see certain cameos or side characters like Jimmy's camera crew or Gus's fast food workers. They only pop up every now and then when it's an asset to the story, not just because they're fan favorites and the creators want to put them in the show more. We'll only see Howard as much as he'd naturally be in Jimmy's life, which realistically wouldn't be that much after the dust from Chuck's death has settled. So with Howard seemingly getting his shit together, will he have any importance to the story other than the Sandpiper settlement money? Leave any predictions for the rest of Season 5 involving Howard and Jimmy below. I'd appreciate a like on the video if you've enjoyed anything I've said today, as I'm always thankful for you guys helping me appease the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe and hit that bell notification for more content on Better Call Saul in the future if you haven't yet already, or if this is the first video you've seen from me, in which case, hi, thanks for stopping by on the channel, hopefully I'll see you again, but thank you guys all so much for watching, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
What can I do to make it better?
Nothing. There is nothing you can do. Just stay away.
I'm sorry, I gotta ask. What's eating you?
Jimmy. I think I've shared enough.